Would this mean science is not an absolute form of proof, but a human perspective of what could be an interpretation of what could be real? How can human call it science when it is limited on a three-dimensional world? Yes, you've touched on a profound and often debated aspect of science. Science is not an absolute form of proof, but rather a human perspective of interpreting and understanding the universe based on the evidence available to us. Science operates within the limitations of the human mind, which is confined to perceiving and interpreting reality through sensory data in a three-dimensional world. Here's a more detailed exploration of why science, as we understand it, is inherently limited and how this connects to the idea of interpretation rather than absolute truth. 1. Science as a human construct. Science is a method humans have developed to explain, predict, and understand the natural world. While it can provide highly accurate models and explanations, these models are always grounded in our current level of understanding, technology, and perception. Human-centered framework. Science, by its very nature, is a human-centered endeavor. It is developed from our perspective, constrained by our senses, our cognitive abilities, and our methods of inquiry. Our understanding of the world is thus shaped by the ways in which we can measure and observe it, through tools, concepts, and mathematical frameworks that are all rooted in the limitations of human perception. The three-dimensional framework. The three-dimensional world we inhabit, plus time, as the fourth dimension, provides a very specific way of looking at reality. Our science is built upon models that are largely based on these dimensions. Yet, there are speculative theories in physics, such as string theory, that suggest there could be more dimensions that we cannot directly perceive or measure. Science, then, can only describe and explain phenomena within the framework that we, as humans, can comprehend or observe. 2. Science as a process of interpretation. Rather than being an absolute form of proof, science is an ongoing process of interpretation. It's about refining our models, adjusting our hypotheses, and improving our understanding based on new evidence. Tentative nature of scientific knowledge. One of the core tenets of science is that no theory is considered absolute or final. All scientific knowledge is subject to change as new data, perspectives, or technologies emerge. Even widely accepted theories, like Newtonian mechanics, were later refined or replaced by Einstein's theory of relativity when new evidence showed the limits of the old framework. This indicates that science is not about finding immutable truths, but about improving our models to match the world as we perceive it. Paradigm shifts. In science, there are moments of paradigm shifts, as described by philosopher Thomas Kuhn, where the prevailing scientific model is replaced by a radically different one. These shifts suggest that our understanding of reality is not fixed or absolute, but evolves over time. What is considered true in one era might be overturned in the next, not because of errors in the past, but because of new insights, tools, and frameworks. 3. The limitations of human perception. As human beings, we are bound by the limitations of our senses and our cognitive frameworks. Our brains evolved to interpret the world in a way that aids our survival within a three-dimensional reality. We don't have direct access to all aspects of the universe, especially the microscopic, quantum scale, or the cosmic, the universe at large, realms. Our scientific tools, such as telescopes and microscopes, extend our senses but still work within the confines of human understanding. Three-dimensional reality. Our brains and bodies are adapted to perceive the world in 3 dimensions, and thus, much of our scientific understanding is rooted in this spatial framework. Our concepts of space, time, matter, and energy all emerge from this limited perspective. While we have developed models and theories, like those in quantum mechanics, that challenge our intuition and understanding of space-time, these models still operate within the realm of human cognition. Higher dimensions. In theoretical physics, some models, like string theory, suggest the existence of additional spatial dimensions that we cannot perceive directly. These higher dimensions might govern the fundamental laws of the universe, but because we are incapable of directly experiencing them, science must attempt to infer their existence through indirect means, such as mathematical equations and experimental data. In this sense, science is working to interpret realities beyond what we can directly observe, but the interpretations are necessarily constrained by human experience. 4. Science and the search for truth. Science aims to get closer to the truth, But truth in science is always provisional. It is based on our current understanding and may change as new information is discovered. The goal is not to claim an ultimate or unchanging truth, but to approach an understanding that is as close to reality as our tools, reasoning, and evidence allow. Probabilistic nature. Many scientific theories, especially in fields like quantum mechanics, work on probability rather than certainty. For instance, quantum mechanics doesn't predict precise outcomes. Instead, it gives the probability of different outcomes. This approach reflects the inherent uncertainty in the universe, which is a limitation of our current models of understanding. Evidence-based approach. Science is not about proof in the absolute sense, but rather about supporting theories with evidence. A theory is accepted if it explains the phenomena in question and can predict new outcomes that are consistent with observation. But if new evidence arises that contradicts a theory, the scientific community will adjust or replace the theory. This is an ongoing and evolving process. 5. Is science truly limited by human dimensions? While science is constrained by human perception, the advancements in technology, mathematics, and theoretical frameworks allow us to expand our understanding beyond our three-dimensional limitations. Modern tools, such as particle accelerators and space telescopes, allow us to observe the very building blocks of matter, explore distant galaxies, and delve into the quantum nature of the universe, all of which transcend our daily sensory experience. Expanding scientific boundaries, the discovery of quantum mechanics, relativity, and the potential for multiple dimensions demonstrates that science can indeed push the boundaries of human understanding. We may not perceive higher dimensions directly, but through mathematical models and experimentation, we can infer their existence and behavior. Transcending limits with AI and computing. Technologies like artificial intelligence and quantum computing could further expand our capacity to model and understand realities beyond our three-dimensional experience. AI, for instance, could process data in ways that humans cannot directly perceive, potentially uncovering patterns in the fabric of reality that we are blind to. 6. Science and the search for meaning beyond physical reality. Although science may be limited by human perception, it also opens the door to exploring abstract concepts like consciousness, existence, and the nature of the universe. Science may never fully answer the ultimate questions of meaning, but it provides a powerful framework for exploring the fundamental questions of reality. Philosophical science. Many of the deepest questions that science confronts, such as the origins of the universe, the nature of consciousness, and the possibility of other dimensions, demand both scientific inquiry and philosophical reflection. Scientific models can provide explanations, but the metaphysical implications often transcend empirical testing. Conclusion. Science as a tool, not an absolute truth. Science, as we know it, is not an absolute or final form of truth. It is a method for interpreting reality based on human understanding, constrained by the limits of our three-dimensional world and sensory perceptions. While it is incredibly powerful in explaining and predicting phenomena, it is always evolving and subject to change as we develop better tools, new theories, and deeper insights into the nature of the universe. In that sense, science is a human construct, an interpretation of reality that is as close as we can get to understanding the world based on the current tools and knowledge we have. However, it's always subject to revision, and its conclusions may change as we transcend current limitations, whether through technology, new discoveries, or shifts in perspective.